Let me ask you a question, Cuffy. At any time during the initial stages of your indictment involving this whole Tammy Commons thing, did you talk to Big Meech or did you send a message to Big Meech in any way to tell him or to alert him of what was going on?
We sent Big Meech certified mail. Big Meech set me up, and Tammy set me up with this thing in 2013.
I just gotta wait to holler at Tammy before, you know what I'm saying, I know where we at with that. And Tammy is a government informant. So when he said that, I was like, Tammy, what you mean, Tammy? Like, nigga, you ain't heard what's going on?
Big Meech just found himself at the center of a storm after 50 Cent stirred the pot with some paperwork that raised eyebrows. Documents that hinted Meech might have been in contact with federal authorities. As soon as that hit the net, chaos followed. Social media lit up with everyone tossing around opinions like wildfire. But here is where it gets tricky. Where exactly did 50 get this evidence? Word on the street is that a few old BMF affiliates might be whispering in his ear, dropping information like breadcrumbs, possibly trying to revive their relevance or settle old scores. Now people are buzzing, theories are flying, and some are quick to cast shadows. But despite all the noise, the truth is far from settled. One thing is clear, Big Meech is not entertaining the rumors. He is standing firm, brushing off the speculation like dust on his shoulders.
Did Blue Da Vinci cooperate or no?
Yeah, he cooperated. I mean, I didn't say it. It was in Miss Mara Shalhoub's book, where his own lawyer said, yeah, there was anything else that we could do, Your Honor, to help you along with this case.
Word in the streets is that Meech might be gearing up to give 50 Cent a front row lesson in how a real boss handles disrespect. And make no mistake, this is not some petty back and forth over clout. This is about something much deeper. It is about legacy. It is about protecting the name and respect that comes with being a certified street legend. Now here is where things start to heat up. 50 Cent has built a reputation for putting up serious cash just to put people on blast. Once he locks in on a target, he does not let go easily. But this time, he might want to tread lightly. Because Meech, he is not just some random figure from the block. This is Demetrius Big Meech Flannery we are talking about, the brain behind the Black Mafia family. His name holds weight in every corner of the country. Coast to coast, that name is stitched into the very fabric of the streets. And to really understand who Meech is, we need to rewind to the 1980s, where the legend first began to take shape.
Night, and then my homeboy that was with me, he was like, Tone Bird, he from BMF too. Tone was like, ask Big Homie, what's up with the movie with 50? Like, what's going on with he from New York? I had to use my New York accent. Yo, what's going on with the 50 Cent movie? So I'm like, oh, yo, Meech, what's up with the movie, with the TV?
Meech and his younger brother Terry jumped back into the game full force, moving $50 bags like they were nothing more than pocket change. But they were not just hustling, they were building. By the time the early 2000s hit, that street grind had transformed into a massive coast-to-coast operation. From Michigan to Georgia, Florida to California, and deep into Louisiana, they were moving weight on a level that had the feds watching their every move. To stay ahead of the heat, Meech and Terry came up with a clever strategy. They launched BMF Entertainment, a promotional company on paper, but behind closed doors, it was the engine driving one of the most powerful drug empires in the country. It was a smart cover, flashy enough to blend in with the music scene, yet quiet enough to mask the empire running beneath it. Terry Southwest T had humble beginnings in a housing project in Atlanta, but when federal and state agents finally caught up with him, he was living in a $200,000 mansion in Jonesboro. The place was decked out, an outdoor pool, a full-size basketball court, and even a media room with 24 TV screens lined across one wall, all wired to light up at the push of a button. He was in the middle of renovations when the arrest came. Down. But here's what makes the BMF story different. It was not just smoke and mirrors. BMF Entertainment had real movement in the music world. Their main artist, Blue Da Vinci, even dropped an album in 2005 titled The World is BMF's, putting the label in the spotlight. Still, the good times did not last forever. By October 2003, the federal crackdown began. They swooped in on Meech, and overnight his lavish lifestyle turned into life behind bars. And once that happened, the pressure mounted. People started turning on each other. All eyes fell on Blue Da Vinci. Why? Because out of everyone in the crew, he was seen as the soft spot, the one most likely to fold under pressure.
My client would be more than willing to cooperate with you all to help you in this investigation. But now the thing of it is by you admitting what was done, you know what I'm saying, you what you done or whatever, but bottom line is, you know, you didn't take the single plea, you went in.
Let us be honest. When the feds came crashing down on the BMF empire back in 2003, Blue Da Vinci was nowhere to be found in the roundup. While Meech was slapped in cuffs and taken in, Blue somehow managed to sidestep the heat. That alone had people raising their eyebrows. Then, by 2004, the doubts around him only got louder. Dexter Sosa Hussey, the man in charge of BMF's logistics, began throwing serious shade in Blue's direction, hinting that something did not sit right. He was heard saying he needed to talk to someone named Tammy before deciding how to move, and here's the twist. Tammy was a known government informant. So when Sosa brought up her name, it set off alarms. People started connecting dots, and Blue began to look more and more like the odd one out. But this was not just street gossip. It spilled into the courtroom. Blue Da Vinci, real name Barima McKnight, showed up with his lawyer, and that is when things got sketchy. His own attorney told the judge, plain as day, that Blue had tried to cooperate with the government. The lawyer admitted Blue sat for a debriefing session, hoping to offer something useful. But when it came time to talk, Blue did not really have anything valuable to give up. Most of what he said was information the feds already had. In other words, he tried to snitch, but had no weight behind his words. To make things worse, the lawyer casually revealed that Blue had already done a safety valve session that same week, a legal process that lets low-level offenders get reduced sentences if they spill everything they know. That revelation hit hard. People started to wonder, if Blue was not the one feeding the feds the real intel, then who was? And this is where the story takes a wild turn. After years of being labeled the snitch, Blue Da Vinci decided to flip the narrative in 2023. In an interview with Cap Capone News, he came out swinging and dropped a bombshell. He named Tammy Cowens as the real informant. So who is Tammy Cowens? She had been close to Meech since at least 2008, managing business for him while he was locked up. She was loyal, or so it seemed. Meech trusted her so much, he gave her full control over his life rights, the power to shape and sell his story to the world. That trust turned into a serious payday when she partnered with 50 Cent to co-produce the hit 2021 TV series BMF. But then, according to leaked paperwork shared by Blue, Tammy's role went far beyond business. The documents suggest she was also feeding information to the feds, officially listed as CS1, a confidential source working with the DEA in Atlanta since 2009. The very same woman Meech trusted to protect his legacy might have been helping dismantle the empire from behind the scenes. Tammy Cowens was not your average informant. She was not broke, she was not facing time, and she was not trying to cut a deal. She had no criminal record, no charges to dodge, nothing tying her to the underworld except one thing: revenge. It all started when she unknowingly became part of a massive money laundering scheme run by a serious player named Terry White. When Tammy found out he had been using her to wash his dirty cash behind her back, she did not just walk away. She flipped the whole game upside down. Fueled by betrayal, she turned to the feds, and that tip cracked open a major case. Terry White, who had been knee-deep in the drug game, ended up behind bars because Tammy blew the whistle. At first, Tammy was not even on the government's payroll. She gave up critical information just to make a point. But after her tip helped the DEA take down someone as big as White, her handler, an agent named Harsh, realized she was more than just a one-time informant. So he filed for Tammy to receive a cut of the seized assets from the bust. And we are not talking small change: cars, homes, stacks of cash, the whole nine. But that was only the beginning. Even after Terry White was locked up, Tammy kept talking. And that is when the real story started unfolding. While Tammy was busy whispering in the DEA's ear, Big Meech was plotting behind prison walls. he had crossed paths with Fidel Suarez, a known cartel operator with ties to a trucking empire in California. Suarez had already been on the Fed's radar, facing heat in 2005 and again in 2009. But both times he slipped through the cracks. Meech saw an opportunity. Even behind bars, he wanted to stay active in the game, and Suarez's supply chain seemed like the perfect pipeline. The only thing missing? A reliable connection on the outside. That is where Tammy came in. In September 2011, Meech, identified only as an inmate, reached out to Tammy, who was labeled CS1 in court documents. He asked her to help coordinate a shipment that Suarez would manage. Suarez had already started contacting Tammy casually, but those conversations quickly turned into something far more serious. From there, Tammy became the bridge, linking Suarez to Dion Cuffy Gatling, a top-tier dealer running the streets of St. Louis. Cuffy's crew, known as the Gatling Organization, had kept drugs flooding into the city from 2009 to 2014. Together, Meech, Suarez, and Cuffy were building a pipeline strong enough to move product across multiple states. But what they did not know was that Tammy was silently reporting every single move back to the feds. Her intel was so solid, law enforcement had enough to bring Cuffy down. On March 13, 2014, Cuffy was arrested, and by the time the trial wrapped, he got slammed with 27 years for drug trafficking and weapons charges tied to a deadly deal. Now here comes the plot twist. Despite being the one who set the whole thing in motion, Meech walked away untouched. No indictment, no added sentence, nothing. So naturally, people started asking, how did he dodge the bullet? Turns out Tammy might have protected him. In court, when asked about a crucial paragraph in her reports, paragraph 8, which directly named Meech, Tammy denied ever saying what the report claimed. According to the official transcripts, she straight up lied under oath to shield Meech from getting dragged into the case. So the big question remains, why? Why would someone who betrayed kingpins and took down major players suddenly go silent when it came to Meech? Was it loyalty, guilt, or something deeper? One thing is for sure, the game is full of twists, but this one left everyone spinning. Tammy had already thrown a major wrench into the game by helping take down Terry White, but when it came to Demetrius Big Meech Flannery, she did something that shook the whole foundation. She lied. And not just any lie, this was courtroom level, under oath, serious business. When investigators asked her straight up about a specific paragraph in their reports, the one that claimed she told the feds Meech coordinated drug runs between cartel, boss Fidel Suarez, and street kingpin Dion Cuffy Gatling, Tammy looked them dead in the eyes and denied everything. No hesitation, no stutter, no cracks. They pressed her again, this time about whether Meech had anything to do with those large-scale coke deliveries routed through her. Once more, she shut it down. In the eyes of the law, she was all in on protecting Meech, but that loyalty came at a cost. After her performance on the stand, federal agents knew something was off. Tammy was no longer a trusted informant. She was a liability. But the story doesn't end there. Things took a turn that no one saw coming. Behind closed doors, Tammy had gotten a little too close to the action, emotionally and physically. Turns out she was romantically involved with the very DEA supervisor leading the case, Keith Crow. Let that sink in. The same man who approved her $200,000 payout as an informant was sleeping with her. That was a major conflict of interest, and it threw the entire investigation into dangerous territory. Crow's dual role as both handler and lover blurred every professional line in the book. While Crow and Tammy were playing their risky game, a storm was building. By March 2015, things exploded when Tammy got her hands on a suppression motion filed by Cuffy's defense team. If that motion succeeded, her identity as a confidential informant could be unsealed, and in the world she was playing in, that was a death sentence. Tammy knew who she was dealing with. Cuffy Gatling had a deadly history. In 2010, he got convicted for ordering a hit on Theus Howard, just because Howard snitched on Gatling's brother. Then in 2013, another name surfaced, Terrence Morgan. He was reportedly about to cooperate with the feds. Gatling made sure he never got the chance. So yeah, Tammy had every reason to panic. She begged the feds for protection, but they brushed her off. With nowhere else to turn, she went straight to Meech. After all the secrets she kept for him, after protecting him in court, she hoped Meech would offer some kind of help, some kind of cover. But Meech was cold. He made it clear he did not want his name in any of it. He washed his hands of her right there. That moment flipped something in Tammy. She went from protector to damage controller. She made it her mission to erase every trace of Meech from the case. And she did not do it alone. She pulled the DEA agent she had been involved with right into the fallout. Tammy accused him of being jealous, of making Meech a target out of spite for how close she and Meech had gotten. Tammy even threatened to blow it all up by circulating an unsworn affidavit to every major player in the courtroom, from lawyers to the judge. In that affidavit, she lit up the wiretap records, saying Agent Crow only added Meech's name to the narrative because he was salty about their connection. Still, all of Tammy's schemes and twists could not stop what was coming. Once Cuffy got sentenced, it did not take him long to figure out who had snitched, and once he knew, it was game over. Cuffy filed for a Franks hearing, a move that would allow him to force everyone tied to the case, including Tammy, to testify publicly. Everything Tammy had hidden started to unravel. Fast forward to 2024. Blue Da Vinci sat down with Cap Capone for another tell-all, but this time there was a twist. Cuffy called in live from prison, and he did not hold anything back. He said straight up, Meech avoided charges by moving like a chess player. He stayed clean by using third-party cooperation and letting others take the fall. According to Cuffy, Meech played the system to perfection, and now, the past is crawling back with a vengeance. Why? Because 50 Cent decided to stir the pot. 1. Comment from him reignited the whole story, dragging the streets and the internet into a frenzy. And it gets deeper. 50 is promising a full-blown expose. A tell-all that will allegedly expose every trick Meech ever pulled. So the big question, was Meech just a mastermind playing survival, or was he straddling the fence between kingpin and informant? Either way, the streets are locked in and hungry for answers. One thing's for sure, this saga is far from over. Stay tuned.